New Thought Media Network. We are a global broadcast network of positive music, media, and entertainment, inspiring humanity's evolution along the journey of enlightenment and creating a world of love, peace, empowerment, and prosperity for all. New Thought Media Network. Positively inspiring.
Hello. Welcome to Rockin' the Love. Oh, I am today with my husband, who is very funny.
Ooh, that's a new low. I mean, no high. That's good.
He's Gil Olmsted.
And she's Robin Rice Olmsted. And we are here rocking the love with you as we do every Wednesday. Thank you so much for joining us. We are happy to talk a bit about relationship. And, you know, one of those major relationships is how the heck do we get along with ourselves? So relationship applies to just about everything. So there you go.
All right. So first of all, we need to ask you today in particular to like us, love us, do something on Facebook. If you can, go to the Rockin' the Love page and hit the like button, or on YouTube, wherever you are. We really appreciate that. And I'm sorry that I'm moving around and we're trying to dodge the sun as it comes through our window. Anyway, so if you can do that, that really helps us with the algorithm and being able to transmit to you and all those good things. We're so excited today to have our guest, our special guest, Reverend Sunshine Michelle Coleman.
Yes, and she hails from the Oakland area of California, which of course is where we more recently hailed from. So that's kind of fun. We know her from there, but more importantly, she and I are collaborating on facilitating a class starting in a couple days. So,
which you will hear about.
We'll talk a little bit about that.
Yeah. So we just want to welcome you. And of course, there's Shay out there. Welcome, Shay. Thanks for joining us. And we know there's others out there that we can't see. So welcome to you, especially to those of us that tell us all the time they're holding us in prayer, our beloved Alvin and Louise and all kinds of folks out there. So
Linda and Kent. And yeah, thank you.
Yeah. So anyway, so we're glad to be here. So this is, we are now in the middle, past the middle of January.
Past the middle. Yes, we are.
Past the middle. It happens so fast. Like for a while, I felt like, oh, it's going slowly. It's not going as fast as it usually does. And then boom, it's like, oh my gosh, there's only 1 week left. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah, it's very, very crazy.
That time thing, it really trips me up.
Yes, and it's always so amazing to me that it feels like, you know, the year starts and then all of a sudden you're like, what the heck happened?
And then the year ends.
It's nothing like when I was 7 waiting for Christmas. It just isn't like that anymore.
That's a show. Like, how do you get that wonder back? You know, how do you get that wonder back where you're not, you shift from like not waiting for your days to be over so you can go home and go to bed. Like when you were like, I just want to stay up. I just want to see this. I just want to do that. Okay, that's a whole nother topic though. Not today, Robin. All right. So your week, how's your week been?
Week has been really good, positive, and very interesting. Working with my own feelings and thoughts around what I do. But I'll tell you what's happening with our spiritual center is very active at the moment. We're moving to a new space starting 1st of March. And so everybody is working either in the current space to clean up, box up, get rid of whatever our stuff, or they're working at the other place, or they're going from between the two. So there's a lot happening.
There's a lot of motion.
A lot happening.
It's kind of a crazy time.
And it's very exciting. People are very excited, and it's good. We've had fantastic response in terms of donations and to help finish the project at the new place. And we're looking forward to a new kind of ministry, a new space, a new way of reaching into the community. And that's exciting.
I think movement like that, those kind of big things, it's such a good lesson in surrender.
Mm-hmm.
Because like just hearing you say, you're working on, I don't know what you said, but I know that it gave me this thought. But like in every moment you get to, it's the unknown, and yet you're standing in the knowingness, and you're balancing those things of, like you have all these donations and prosperity coming in, and yet wondering how you're going to
pay the last rent where we are.
Yeah. It's such a ball of confusion.
Yeah. And not to mention that I personally, being, in leadership, feel bad sometimes when I go places and people are working and I'm not there to work. I'm there to do something else, or I'm moving through. And I have to remind myself that, I do lots of things that are not on everybody's radar. So there you go. And I've got to do them. Because it needs to happen. So what about your week?
That's why you make the big bucks.
That's why I make the big bucks. That's right.
My week is good. Busy. That's all. Just busy and wanting to, I really, want to bring things to completion. And I keep trying. And I know actually our guest, as I've known her for many, many years, she is one of the people who would hold me accountable and tell me, Robin, don't volunteer for that. and so I keep trying to tell people no, and they're not hearing me. and I know that's another show, but I feel like I feel like I'm being very clear now. I'm explaining to them, no, I don't hold my license at this church. I'm doing things here. I'm doing things there. I'm doing enough. I don't need to add anything in. And yet they don't hear me. I just show up on the schedule.
I was going to say, they hear you fine. It's just that your name shows up on things. You never told them you'd do it.
But that's what I feel my week is like. It's that balance. And even with you, it's that balance of going, no, today we're doing this. This is what we've got to complete. And really being, firm in that, because I know like we can knock things out and get them done, but we're so codependent.
You know what? I think we're just revealing a little too much right now.
No, but you know what I mean? It's like we want to have such a good time, and we're like, okay, well, let's just do this first. And that becomes later.
There it is. All right. So with all that being said, let us move on to the good news.
The good news.
The good news of the week that we want to share with you. I will start.
This is our, okay? You can, but tell them what it is.
This is our segment where we talk about the good things going on in the world, which is why it's called the good news. And the reason for that is to remind us that a lot of the headlines that we read are there to provoke us to think the world is bad. So, all of that being said, I am going to share with you a little bit about Veronica the cow. And Veronica the cow has been a part of this family for quite a while. She's not been bred for milking or meat or any of that. She's a family pet named Veronica. And the owner noticed 10 years ago that she started picking up sticks and scratching her back. And here she's seen with a broom scratching her back. And the significance is it's considered to be a multi-purpose tool, and it's really only been documented, other than in humans, the smart ones, other than in humans, it's only been documented in chimpanzees or apes.
Wow.
So she's a very smart cow. And I think it just goes to the point that we don't really know how smart everybody is. When we walk in the oneness with all the animals and all the plants, and, we hear about the plants talking to each other, communicating, and all these things. And we think, well, we don't know that. Well, no, because we're not tuned into that. But they have a lot more going on than we think. And it's actually very heartening to know for me.
Yeah. Yeah, it definitely speaks to that oneness. That's great. I love that. So last week I did a story about Europe, and the good news was in London they have the lowest amount of homicides and crime reported. And I made some comment about the United States, and I was super aware that I compared us and didn't think that we had the same successes. But I myself am outing me that it appears that last year New York had the lowest number of shooting in its history. So that is in 2020. It says in 2025 that New York recorded 688 shooting incidents, and that's the lowest number in history. And it didn't just break the previous record that was set in 2018. It shattered it with 66 fewer shootings than the benchmark year. So,
I want to notice Police Commissioner Jessica Tisch said, so police, because you get the women in charge, everything changes. Things get better. You don't always see that.
Well, I mean, I think that's great, though. And in the month of December, the shootings fell 43%. With 35 shooting incidents citywide, and that's for crime to fall in December. That's a pretty good thing, period. But so it's just interesting that.
Well, can I say what I think is most interesting is that is completely opposite of what we generally hear and would be told and asked to believe is, that in fact, per capita, all these things have been dropping, and they've been dropping a lot of cities around the area. And of course, New York is a Democratic / now socialist bastion. And those, of course, are supposed to be the most dangerous cities. So, what we're told is not what's true. That's the key. And that's part of the whole good news box, is to dig a little bit under what we normally hear.
Yeah. So beyond the shootings, the incidence of theft fell 4% and burglary 5% and armed robbery 10%.
Yep.
Yeah. So it's happening, people. It's happening. No matter what we hear or read, we just have to keep holding the light and knowing the truth. And I'm grateful that we have this posse of people that know how to do that. So, yay. Yay. So I don't want to keep us any longer. I want us to take a little break. And when you come back, we are going to have our guest, Reverend Dr. Sunshine Michelle, join us. And we're going to hear all about this modern twist on a mystic.
I was wondering where you were going.
Former, older, and modern. We're going to hear a lot of great stuff, and you're going to learn about a great class that is actually virtual. So all of you are welcome to join. So make sure you have your pen and pencil ready to jot down information. And we'll see you right back here on New Thought Media Network.
Please help us say thank you to all of our organizational sponsors, including the Hefferland Foundation, Affiliated New Thought Network, International New Thought Alliance, Science of Mind Archives and Library Foundation, Center for Spiritual Living Denver, Center for Spiritual Living Midtown, New Thought Philadelphia, Center for Spiritual Living United Life, Sunshine Cathedral, Planned Happiness Institute, Summit Center for Spiritual Living, One Heart Retreats, Universal Joy Center, Unity Kitchener, Unity Spiritual Center Ottawa, Home Center for Spiritual Living, Satya Center, Begin Within Ministries, Center for Spiritual Living North Jersey, Unity of Savannah, and the Center for Spiritual Living Seattle, as well as all of our individual donors. On behalf of New Thought Media Network, thank you, and please like, share, and subscribe. New Thought Media Network, come be you. Come expand your spiritual journey. Join us for Just the Talk, Sundays, 1 p.m. to 6 p.m. Mountain Time. Experience Unity Kitchener and Ottawa. Center for Spiritual Living Midtown, Center for Spiritual Living Denver, Unity of Garden Park, New Thought Philadelphia, the Sunshine Cathedral, Unity of Savannah, and the Om Center for Spiritual Living. Come unleash your spiritual potential with New Thought Media Network. New Thought Media Network proudly presents a Science of Mind Saturday Conversations. Learn more about the Science of Mind philosophy, faith, and way of life. Join our team of experts for a weekly deep dive discussion. Come study the Science of Mind, chapter by chapter, and resources from the Science of Mind archives. Plan to join us every Saturday, 9 a.m. Mountain Time, only on the New Thought Media Network.
And we're back. You are viewing Rockin' the Love. I am looking for words. Welcome. I'm Robin Rice Olmsted.
And I'm Gil Olmsted, and we're excited to be here with you this week. And we're excited to be here with our special guest, the Reverend Dr. Sunshine Michelle Coleman, who, interestingly enough, I met back in 2009, I think, when we first came to Oakland. And so we knew each other from being together there, and she's since gone on to become a Science of Mind minister or a CSL minister, depending on what you want to say. And she's currently serving as a spiritual director at Oakland Center. So she's back home. Yay. Yay for you. So thank you for being here with us. And the reason she's here is because she and I are teaching or facilitating a class together coming up this week, beginning this week. And so we wanted to share a little bit about it and have you know a little about Reverend Sunshine and, you know, how what we're going to talk about.
But I thought I was here because I'm a modern mystic.
Yeah, that was a misprint.
Oh, shoot.
Well, and that's an interesting question. Who's a mystic? What's a mystic?
I guess I could say self-proclaimed.
Yeah. I mean,
And there's only one of us here. So that works.
We're all in our own way.
Self-proclaimed, we can do that. Go ahead.
no, you go.
No, you go.
Okay, I think the mystics of the world are all, we're all have that mystical side to us, that side where we really anchor into spirit and understand and can see what others might consider crazy. What they might consider very, outside of the norm. In reality, I think mystics understand that the norm is beyond our limits of thinking and possibility. And I think that, so what we're talking about in our class is Ernest Holmes, who is the founder of Science of Mind and Spirit, who also was quite a mystic, particularly when you dive in a little bit into his life beyond some of the stuff that people normally see and know. So.
Well, I also want to, were you going to say something?
Yeah.
I also want to say that Reverend Sunshine also serves. Reverend Sunshine is my minister because my license is at Oakland Center for Spiritual Living. Proud to say. But Reverend Sunshine also serves on the Theme of the Year Committee, whatever that's called.
The
Right.
Global Themes team. I used to, not anymore, but I did it for about 5 years.
Oh,
Wow.
okay. So you didn't do this year's?
This year's not 2026. Yeah, we are in a new year. Y'all talking
We're in a new year.
No.
Well, the last
25, yes.
yeah, 2025. I know that the last month or two were
Right,
yours.
December, yeah.
Yeah. But this year's theme, where I was going anyway, is open at the top, which I guess controversially, we credit Ernest Holmes with that saying. And so we wanted to talk a little bit about that, because I think when you come into this teaching, I mean, there's so much that you hear that you're like, I'll speak from the eye. There's so much that I've heard people hear about what are they talking about and what does that mean? So let's just start with that, with Ernest Holmes' quote, open at the top. And what does that mean?
What does that mean?
Well, what's coming to me is, first of all, in our center here at the Oakland Center, I love gestures, and I have the whole community do it. So you come from your belly button, that core in those chakras there, and you come up, that you're open at the top. It's like our teaching symbol. You can even do that with me. You can kind of come from down here, and you're open like it's rising, and it's just coming up, and it's at the top. Because if we believe in infinite possibilities, which we do, that life is filled with them, and it's about choice, because you don't have to believe that. But if we're hanging out together, we think we believe the same thing, right? Then that allows us to be open at the top. If you're espousing the infinite possibilities, then you have to be open to what those possibilities might be. They might be radical. I was talking to somebody before this call that was talking about radical things.
Mm-hmm.
It might be different. It might be something never thought of. But that creative medium, that thing itself that Ernest Holmes talks about in the first chapter of the Science of Mind text, allows you to be open at the top so that we can be a conduit for its good.
Yeah, I think when I think of Ernest Holmes saying that, I think the thing that has struck me is that he and I've read other stuff about him not necessarily expecting people to read his books after he was gone and things like that, that he was not stuck in having brought somehow, the tablets down from the mountain and given us the be all end all of what it means to be spiritual.
Yeah.
He searched and looked at lots of different things, pulled things together, noticed where different religious groups agreed, and those kinds of things, and pulled those things together and kind of came up with this understanding. But his key was, that's that's just where we are now.
Mm-hmm.
And we can continue to grow and learn more.
Thank goodness for that, because then, that gives hope for some of the stuckness that the world seems like it's in.
Yeah.
Things can change like that if we allow it.
And that's really true. They just boom, and it's different. And I've in our center we say, all faiths welcome, none required. And it's kind of that idea that it's all encompassed. It's all encompassed. And, whether you have a faith that you think you have or whether you don't, or whether you're over here or over there, doesn't matter. What matters is that we come together seeking spirit. We're seeking the same energy. We're seeking the understanding of our lives through this spiritual way of speaking, I guess.
Yes. I like it. Yes. Yes, yes, and more yes.
Okay, thank you. I'm done.
Well, yeah, and I think, you guys, you two have both said this, that it's just so important to stay open and to be curious, and it's that it's like we have to know that we know, and yet know that we don't know, all at the same time.
Have a beginner's mind.
Yeah. So it's an interesting philosophy and way of being.
That's really important because what I'm finding more and more, and I'm noticing in myself, my ability to more and more really just listen to people and not decide anything about what they're saying right in the moment necessarily, sort of just allow it. And first of all, it's a lot less taxing than making up a whole bunch of things about it while they're talking, but it allows me to really honestly not make it about how, well, if they're saying that and I don't think that, then I must be wrong or they must be wrong, and we must, and those kinds of things. If I can let that go, I can listen to it and find out what's in there that's for me, what's in there that we might be able to work with together, that kind of thing. And I think that's basically what Ernest was doing with his whole process.
And we're forever changing and evolving, I believe. And we need to allow ourselves the spaciousness to be able to think differently, to be able to grow into a new mode of thinking. I've noticed that I think it's due to my practice, my spiritual practice over the years. But there's been times where I want to be mad at something.
Mm-hmm.
You know how that human ego,
Really?
you want to be mad and stay mad. And then it's not serving you, but you still want to do that. And what I notice over and over now is I can't stay mad. And then it kind of dissipates. And then it's like, well, wait a minute. And I try to get it back. Why would I try to get it back? That's the question. And I try to get it back and I can't. And so I've come to understand that this is that evolution, that personal evolution, that the more you study, you find that spaciousness, that capacity to grow and evolve and expand beyond your anger into love. Y'all talking about rocking the love. That's what it is love taking over and healing. That's what we believe, that love heals all.
Yeah.
That's right. And when we listen to people, when we have dialogue with people, we are engaging in love with people. We're not engaging in, like you said, in being angry because something is said that we don't agree with or any of those kinds of things. We're truly engaging with just being with one another.
Yeah.
Well, and engaging with love can't be closed. Love can only be open.
Right.
Exactly.
Open at the top.
So I want to know about class. Tell me about class and what's going to happen in this class and all those things. And Shay says, still intermittently mad. how could I not be and still be authentic?
Well, Shay, I know that you're mad sometimes. No, Shay, really, seriously, I think she's a regular. Shay,
That's good.
I think you're absolutely right. The reality is that it comes through us. The question is, do we hold on to it? Do we somehow, even as Reverend Sunshine was describing, like kind of want to get into it and hang on to it? And I think as we grow, we notice the mad, we notice the anger, we allow it to be real, and then we allow it to go.
And
Yeah.
learn from it. I would say learn from it, Shay. I believe that everything serves.
Yeah.
And if we look for the lessons learned in it, we'll find that. And then it allows us more inquiry into ourselves, into our behaviors, into why we're holding on to things or not, and how it dissipated perhaps, or either we let it go. That's being authentic. You don't give up your authenticity, you lean into it. You embrace it.
Lean into it.
Yeah, absolutely. I was going to say basically the same thing. Like, how do we allow it to serve us? You know, and it makes me think like I've gotten to the point with Mad that once I've addressed it, I can't even remember what it was about on some level. But
she is a pain to argue with. Really.
I am, because I've let it go. I just like he wants to keep going over it and understanding it, and I've let it go. I understand it, and I don't need it, you know, or it's taught me whatever it's meant to teach me. So yeah, it's mad. I mean, and I love what you said about Reverend Sunshine about, well, you know, why do I try to get it back? You know, why do I try to get it back? Because it's like, I just feel like more the inquiry is like, the journey is more about the inquiry than that. Like we started out with the curiosity. And yeah.
Lean in with curiosity and wonderment.
Yeah.
Which begs the question of open at the top, because what we're saying is it's about the journey. It's not about a destination. We continue to find new things as we're moving along the journey.
Yeah.
If we stay on the journey, we'll continue to grow. And if we stop, then that's where the ceiling comes in, the glass ceiling happens. And then we think we can't go beyond it.
Mm-hmm.
And I would say we continue to find new things, and we continue to see old things in new ways.
Right. Absolutely.
So the class, Robin, you asked about, this is a 10-week class on Thursdays starting tomorrow, not in a couple of days, Gil, it's tomorrow.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Thank you.
22nd at 5:30 Pacific, 6:30 Mountain. And y'all figure out the other times. Everybody's welcome. It is virtual. The required reading is the Essential Ernest Holmes. I have it. Right.
I have it. Look, see, we got in pairs. We got it.
Dueling Ernie's.
And also the Science of Mind, what we call the textbook, will be referred to, or you can have it there. And then there will be class materials to study from. A lot of discussion and dialogue about some of Ernest Holmes' writings, and which you learn what he believed, what he's taught us to believe in the Science of Mind philosophy.
Yeah, and what he's offered us to support our own growth. You know, I mean, I find it fascinating that Ernest Holmes at some point had various things that seem to have kind of been stripped away, and the religion, the group of science of minders or religious science sort of focused on the more change your thinking, change your life period, and not about more of the mystical stuff. And I think we're rediscovering that and reminding ourselves that there's power in that. You know, the truth of change your thinking, change your life still exists, but that doesn't discount the rest of it. You know, And when we understand, this idea of more possibility, that changes our thinking, which changes our life.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah, and I think also, Reverend Gill, the what we were talking about earlier of the lessons learned in being in the journey, which is difficult. I believe that we're here on earth. We're going to have an experience that is going to be difficult sometimes. It just is. All of us have had those moments. How do we allow that to be a springboard into our higher consciousness? How do we, the master teachers lived experiences like that too. That is the mystic experience of how you allow yourself to use where you are and what you're experiencing to achieve the higher consciousness. Lots of opportunity.
And they're not all, for me, they're not always obvious. And kind of like what you said before, I'm not always in the mood to go there. I want to stay mad. I want to stay frustrated. I want to stay right, whatever it is, So that's where, everybody has that challenge. That's just the truth of how this works.
Yeah.
We're all working through what, in some ways, I think it's so interesting because we talk about we're whole, perfect, and complete when we show up here, right? And I think we spend the rest of our lives trying to get back to it. What does that mean? What does that feel like? Because somewhere it either gets forgotten or gets educated out of us.
Right. Right. And this class, Robin, you asked, I'm going back to the class.
Please.
It's 2.5 hours for each night on Thursdays for this 10-week period, and lots of discussion and time together and doing spiritual practice, learning about spiritual principles. And it's at a steal. The investment, you see, I think the producer thought it was an error on the flyer. $125? Are you serious? What? It was intentional to make it affordable so that it gives people the opportunity to do a spiritual practice of giving back, of contributing along the path of the class, commensurate with your learning and with your experience. So it's that law of circulation where you get to give. It's affordable. You get to give and receive abundance and elevated consciousness. Can't go wrong with it.
Cannot go wrong.
Yeah, Shay, it would be great to have you in the class. We'd love to have you and anyone else listening in.
And when Robin says we, it's because she's one of our support people for the class. And of course, if you've ever been a class with me and Robin, she'll have some things to say. So
yes, she will.
What? I'm quiet. But I think it'll be fun because I think that there is so much mysticism is such a, people think of it as old and now they think of it as new, but they think of it as not them. And I think, so much of what Ernie says all along the way and so many other, new thought pioneers, it's so relevant, and I think that's the thing that's really fascinating on some level is like how relevant these people from so long ago are, teaching us the same things.
Yeah.
Well,
and Ernest Holmes wrote about the Declaration of Principles, which is also called What We Believe, which you can find in that Science of Mind textbook. It's also in this Essential Ernest Holmes book. And we're going to be breaking it down so that it can be practical. Like, how do you feel about it now? How do you relate to it? How do you apply it in your life? We want to continue to explore that.
in dialogue, does it make sense to you? Do you think this is what it is? I mean, you shared with me the other day that you had some arguments with some of the stuff you read before that you're not quite as argumentative about now.
Sometimes depends on when I look at it. I've been in this philosophy a long time, and I like to write in my books in the margin. And I remember reading one that I said, "This is not true, and here's why." But I was right, actually. I agree with me. But
Well,
it's a tough go with it,
and here's the thing: it's if we're open at the top, it's continually open to new information and new understanding, and an understanding that was created in my life 10 years ago, or in somebody's life 100 years ago, or in Thoreau's life 150, 200 years ago, may be the stepping stone to where we're going, but it may not be exactly what it is.
Yeah.
And Shay says, I have arguments with the content too.
It's a good thing. That shows you that your mind is working. I know when
Not
my child was little, he's a grown man now. But kids push the envelope and they want to, kind of see, maybe not intentionally, if it works. Like, can I do this, or are they paying attention? Let me see if I can slip this through. Yeah, it's not a bad thing. They maybe shouldn't have done that, but at least it's working. Our minds and it's assimilation. It's working together.
Well, it's not a bad thing at all, and it speaks exactly to what Ernest Holmes said in the beginning and what he wanted. That's why he wanted to keep it open at the top, because he wasn't the end all be all. He wasn't follow me this way and this is the only way. It was go out and learn what's out there and bring it back, and and then let's talk about it all. It wasn't, there's only one way. So
what's interesting about that is in the New Thought movement, there is a lot of that, but there's also the other side. There's the Mary Baker Eddies who said, this is how it is. This can never be changed. And that's Christian Science. Am I correct? Yes. And, so they're locked in to this belief pattern. And so it becomes dogmatic for them now, for those who are part of it. And I think that's contributed to their not growing as much as they once were,
So I don't know if it fits your good news story, which I loved, by the way. Thank you so much. But, I found myself telling a story on the pulpit that I'll tell here, where any of you who remember the Pillsbury Doughboy, I think that still is out there, Pillsbury, right? What if, the Pillsbury Doughboy or Doughgirl is a big cloud up in the sky, you've an inflated, when you push it and it giggles, you lean into it, but you push it and then it opens up to you. This is that universal inquiry. You push it and it giggles and it gives you more. It's like, tell me more. If you lean in, then I need to get closer to that camera. I need to get closer to you. It's like, that's interesting. Is that true? How do I feel about that? Tell me more. Your mind is open. Your mind is open up the top, even if you don't agree with it. So just think of the Pillsbury Doughboy or girl.
What I think about that is, it's that tickle where you sort of lose your defenses.
Yeah.
Right? And you're just like, well, okay.
Yeah. Woo.
And I think that's part of it. When we let our defenses down, we can really become open and receive and all of that.
And I just want to share with you what Shay is saying. She says she's been studying philosophy and religion and New Thought and everything else for the past 40 years and have not found a single system that can actually encompass true spirituality. We're trying to explain and define the unexplainable, and it just doesn't really work. This comes close, though.
Oh, I'm glad to hear that. Well, and isn't it great that you get to have a little of this and a little of that and a little of the other? And actually, Shay, that's what Dr. Holmes did, as Robin was saying. He took philosophy, he took spirituality and mythology, even, and mathematics and all of the sciences and spirituality, and tried to, kind of pull it together to synthesize and put it into this framework that we can understand and we can use and we can repeat. These principles are repeatable. They work every time.
And I think it's a lot. It's very similar to what you said about writing in your book and not agreeing with things, and finding that, because at any given moment, how someone explains something to me is I depend on Like, well, I remember when I first started going to Agape, and I'd be all into it, and then somebody would do a Bible quote, and I'd be like, "What?" But then, like when Reverend Nirvana or somebody would break it down into like a whole different thing, I'd be like, oh, "That's fascinating!" Like how it could be relevant, So I think like when we're looking at different things too, sometimes we don't. They're not in words that make it relatable for us, And then later on, we can hear someone else say it, which is why church is so great because, no offense, y'all say the same thing every week. And and yet we all hear different parts.
Right.
It's kind of magical. So so it's like, is there nothing, or is it us? Does that make sense?
Yeah. I mean, it goes back to this idea that we were talking about before, and that is, well, anyway, what we're doing with this class is we are bringing new light to this information. We are reinterpreting it for people to understand now to some degree. So I think that's what's always happening. We're always reinterpreting and understanding.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you saw the movie Song Sung Blue about the guy who was a Neil Diamond impersonator, sort of, but not really. But he called himself a Neil Diamond interpreter.
Oh,
he thought that the music was so incredible that he was here to help people hear it and understand it. And I think that's kind of the idea, is to really go, wow, what does that Bible verse there mean? Why did he refer to that? That kind of thing.
and I think at any given time, as we grow and evolve in our awareness and our consciousness, then we have that expansion. Robin, when you were talking, I was thinking about my grandmother, ancestor on the other side, and she was very, very religious and traditional religions. And there was a point where, I just couldn't go because it just seemed so dogmatic and so limiting. And I didn't fit in there anywhere and I didn't understand it or whatever. But as I loosened up and allowed myself to expand and to blossom, I found myself being able to go to her church and worship with her and just, let seep in what made sense and the rest just let it go. It doesn't matter. We don't have to wrestle with it. We don't have to adopt or adapt to everything. We can just let it go if it doesn't make sense, or we can, allow it that curiosity where we're asking the question.
Yeah, I love that. And I love that you brought in Grammy. I'm like, oh, but you made me think of after my mom died and we had our service at a Catholic church, and the priest was talking to me afterwards and was like, "So are you going to come back to the church?" Which was definitely a big no in my mind. But what he said to me, what I remember him saying to me was, he goes, "You should come. There's a lot of cute boys here now." And I thought, it was like, but what I realized was they had learned to talk in a different language as well. Like to acknowledge that this was where people were at.
Yeah.
And I think that's one of the things that makes your class so exciting. And I can say honestly that I've taken class from both of you, and well, you're both brilliant, but it's always so the brilliance comes from the people. So I really want to encourage the people to come, because the conversations are so rich. And even like what you brought up, Shay, and like just that, questions around faith and different things, it's like all of it will come in and will be explained through Ernest Holmes' teachings and others, and so and
that's a great encouragement, Robin. I remember back in the day when I took some of what would be the equivalent of this class, I think it was, dogmatic in and of itself. It's like, no, here, we're going to teach it this way. You learn it this way. You repeat it this way. And this is the way it is.
Mhm.
As opposed to now, I read somewhere in the book, it says, wrestle with it. It says, adapt it or question it. Have some inquiry about it, because you're wrestling with it within yourself, or you're dialoguing with your instructors or with the students, and then you gain your own epiphany from it. Like, whoa, oh, now I get it, or here's a whole new way of looking at it.
Yeah.
I think it goes to what you and I have touched on, and that is the idea that we aren't necessarily teaching the class, we're facilitating it.
Yes.
We're really, truly facilitating everybody's discovery of what they already know, discovery of what they may find out they're curious about, or whatever, and each person contributes to that, which, by the way, we are up to 11 persons to have that experience right now. So just know that there'll be a lot of people offering a lot of good ideas. So we'd love to have yours as well.
And I just want us, Rev Gil, I know I'm saying it to you for the first time because I'm getting it for the first time, but I would love for us all to think of ourselves as a modern mystic. Like, what does that mean? Me? You sure? Me? I'm a modern mystic? Yeah, well, why not? Well, that's true. Why not? Okay, can I answer that one? And what is my philosophy? What do I believe about this stuff? How would I say what I read Ernest Holmes saying in the Declaration of Principles? Well, how would I say it? How do I apply it to my life? Somebody would think you're a modern mystic because of it.
Well, I love that. And even if you just ask people to try it on for these 10 weeks, try it on for these 10 weeks. And if you can't stand in that place of being a modern mystic, stand in the place of, what if I am?
What if this is true? That's one of my favorite questions.
I remember when I took my first screenwriting class, the teacher asked us, so what do you do? And everybody said what they did. And he said, that's not your answer from now on. You are a screenwriter. And I was like, oh. And literally, I've never looked back. I get a little nervous when people ask me what I've written, but I get it. Even just to have that mentality and to just think about the possibilities. So I love that. And yes, I am.
A new spiritual practice, Robin, that I ended up giving somebody some years ago, and I use it to this day. It's called the 5-second rule. You can go longer than 5 seconds. But for 5 whole seconds, what if you allowed whatever the thing is to be absolutely true? Like, how would that feel to put that on? To be a screenwriter, to be a mystic for 5 seconds, like, letting all doubt aside.
Yep. And if I have one written, I have one written. It's all my own thing, right? So.
Yeah.
Well, this has been a wonderful time. I can't believe we're at the end of it, but I'm so excited, and you can actually have more of it by just signing up for this class. And there's all kinds of ways to do that. You can follow the QR code. You can go to a website.
Did we put the link in here?
We would.
Mike always sent it to you. Can you put it in? Did you see it from me?
Okay. Anyway, you can find it. If you can't find it, send us a note. And there's payment plans and all kinds of things. So there's no excuse unless you have something else to do on Thursday night, but you're going to be.
And especially for those who are wanting to be on the practitioner path, this is a required course. So you would want to take it now with Reverend Go. And
Go.
Go.
All right. So I'm so excited. I'm more excited now than I was. So I'm so excited. Thank you so much for taking time to join us. I know you're busy doing lots of good stuff in the world. And so.
Thank you both. You're such a kick. You're opening. I was wanting to chime in on everything you were saying. It's like, oh my gosh, they are a riot.
That's us.
We have fun.
We do have fun.
That's for sure. So the class is going to be fun.
It's going to be fun. There's no reason to do it if it's not fun.
Yeah.
So join us in the fun on Thursday night, starting tomorrow. And then see us next week on Rockin' the Love. Thank you to our producer, Michael Mangus, for putting up with us and doing all the things we ask with such joy and glee. And you can see Michael Mangus on Friday nights here on New Thought Network. Okay, so we're going to let you go, but we're going to tell you to remember it's our job, it's our duty to rock the love, everybody. The world needs it. The world needs us. So keep rocking the love, and we'll see you next week.